we came to the conclusion to adopt. We have been trying to have a baby of our own for about 4 years, and we always wanted to adopt. And we actually fasted and we prayed about adoption 2 years ago, and but then we just came to the conclusion that we still hadn't figured out what was the culprit of why we weren't able to conceive. And we decided that we wanted to continue with our journey, so we put adoption on hold for a while. We decided that God led us to adoption. We didn't think that adoption would be first for us, as we have always wanted to have our own kids, and not saying that we won't, but God wanted us to adopt. And so we decided that we would start the process of praying about adoption. We went on a marriage retreat, and during the marriage retreat we were with our friends that all had kids, and it was just fun being with all the kids. And we came to the conclusion after we got back that we wanted to adopt and start the adoption process.
Coming into the decision to make adoption, it made it really difficult because we weren't really financially at the point where we could just, come up with the money to be able to afford the adoption, the lawyer fees, the agency fees, everything, and it came to about $30,000, and it was just really. It wasn't something that we actually had at the time when we actually started the process for adoption. And actually, we were sitting with, I was sitting with our small group again after we made the decision that we were going to adopt, and I was talking to a couple of the guys, and I just said, we're gonna go ahead and proceed with the adoption, but we don't have the money right now, and we're just gonna wait for a few things to come through, and then we'll go ahead and step forward.
Called his parents and we said, we want to adopt, can you please start praying? And we were praying for God to give us signs that this is what he wanted for us. And that weekend was Father's Day weekend, and we had went down, and we were praying because the agency said, not that you have a time limit on being accepted into the program and being our parents, but we want you guys to at least make a decision here soon, so that we can kind of know if you guys are in this or not. And so we started praying that Father's Day weekend, and we were praying, God, give us signs, give us confirmations. And so when we went down to the store, a boutique store down in Stewart, there we come in and we go to the section, we tell this girl, and we say, do you guys have anything that's like gender neutral? And she's like, yeah, we do. And then she had happened to say, well, do you guys not know what you're having? And I said, no, we're gonna adopt. And so the first confirmation that we got from the Lord was, she instantly said right away, she said, oh, really? I'm adopted. And that was like the first thing that we were like, we looked at each other and was like, that's crazy. We were just talking about adoption. And then she proceeds to tell us about her story. And so then we go to the checkout line, and I was just happening to be glancing at the books that were there. And then it was like God, boom, just showed up again. And I mean, in all the stores I've ever shopped at, I have never seen anything about adoption. And then I had happened to be looking, and there was an adoption journal, notebook to journal everything about adoption. And that was the second confirmation that we got. And we were like, I said, I have to have this. Like, this is God saying, like, this is what he wants for us. We're praying about confirmations, and this is God giving us a second confirmation. And then the third confirmation to take the step forward was the Roe v. Wade got overturned, and that was our third confirmation. So it was crazy how God put those together.
On September the 26th, we received a call from our agency, and actually I received a call. I was at an appointment for my second job that I'd taken on to basically cover the cost for the adoption, and I got the call. I was in a client's house, and I told the client, I said, you know what, I had to take this call. I stepped outside, and I answered the phone, and immediately she started going into the details, and I told her, I said, hold on. I said, wait, let me get my wife on the line. And so I quickly got Ashley on the line, and actually it was ringing, and I texted her while it was ringing. I was like, answer the phone right now, like in bold capital letters. Yeah. And so she ended up answering the phone, and we started going, talking to the agency about it, and it was just the craziest, just because we got a call the day of, it was the day after he was born, and so we went from having no baby, no signs of we didn't have a birth mom at the time that was going to be having our baby. It was just, we had no, it was a wait, we were still in the waiting.
So the next day going into the hospital was so magical. I mean, we walked in there and it was just seeing this little baby, and he was so little, and now, I mean, he's so big now, but seeing him back then, he was so little, and we cried because it was just, I still can't believe it. I can't believe that I just can't believe it, it's crazy. Hi, buddy. And this is our son. This is baby Jacob.
Jacob Ronald Steckman.
Yep. And he is going to be 4 months on January 25th. And he's just the light of our life. And we love him so much.
Yes.
As far as coming home from the hospital, it was just so exciting that we had a baby. It was unbelievable that we were going home with a baby. We were 1 minute, the next day no baby, and then the next minute we were bringing a baby home in our truck. And the first night was really pleasant. I mean, he woke up on a normal schedule, but as far as just not crying, I mean, he's never been a crier. He's our peaceful baby. That's what we say. He's covered with the peace, and that is just he's happy. He's a happy baby. But the first day was great.
It was a little bit of a shock bringing him home. We were just like I said, we were going from no baby to a baby within a day. And we just, that night we were like, is he gonna wake up? Oh, perfect timing, buddy. What's been most surprising about this journey is that, it, like I sort of mentioned before, but, I could take any child in as my own, and he is truly my own. He's really, I just, it's crazy. You just, when you have a baby of your own and he's yours, he's just I just want to constantly just squeeze him and just hug him. He's just so so fun to be with, and just make him smile, tickle him. Getting up at night and just him looking up at you when you're feeding him, he's just, he knows, he looks at me like I'm his dad, but that's the most surprising thing, is that, it's a special thing that, adoption, even though it's not biological, he's still my son. Yeah.
The hardest thing would be, for me, I think, besides the baby, I think a big part of me really wanted to meet our birth mother and just tell her how thankful and grateful I am for our son. And I just didn't think it would be possible. And she chose us and she said, yes, I want you guys. And I want one day to just say thank you. And I think that would be the hardest thing through our journey. So there's nothing hard about you. He's the special boy, but I think the biggest thing for me is just, it is a semi-open, but just not having an open door at the time is there's distance that we have with each other, and that's okay, but one day.